So welcome everyone to our council meeting. I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start off with adopting the agenda. So I'm going to suggest that it's moved by Sherry, seconded by Steve, that the agenda for the July 13th, 2020 regular meeting of council be accepted and passed. Any discussion on that? All those in favor then? That's carried. Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest on anything on tonight's agenda? I don't have any. Lisa?
No.
Sherry?
No.
Dan?
No.
And Steve?
No.
Okay, thank you. So our first item on our agenda is a presentation from Keith Harris, the chair of the Arthur BIA. Are you with us, Keith?
Yes, I'm here. How are you today?
Good. Welcome. And I'll turn the floor over to you. You can share some information with us.
Thank you, Mayor Lennox. My name is Keith Harris. I own the Arthur Karate Dojo on Main Street at 212 George Street. I've been in business there for 23 years. I also run a small international beverage company, very small. And yeah, so what we got excited about the Arthur BIA. And we want to get moving on the projects and make sure we have some positive results for this year. I'm not sure whether everybody has seen or read the letter. Anybody?
Everybody has it in their package, Keith.
Okay, great. So basically, the Arthur BIA is active and ready to start the work necessary to make improvements to the Arthur downtown area. And in addition to the Connecting Link project, which I think is a fantastic project we can take advantage on, we're working with the Arthur Chamber and municipal staff. There are two other projects we have received RED funding that we think are great opportunities for the BIA to get involved in and support. We have two projects. The first one is the Winter Seasonal Downtown Decorations Project, and this will allow us to brighten up otherwise dismal year, and it'll be at the right time at Christmas time. Secondly, the other project we feel is worthwhile is a entertainment area. For the spring, we're looking at for the outdoor gym project. These are two ideas that were put forward from the committees from last year. The Winter Seasonal Downtown Decorations Project is the most time sensitive two projects that needs funding very soon so that we can leave the planning stages and get on with the implementation phase. Of course, we do not have any money yet, and with the conditions of business in downtown, well, everywhere, we're looking for a no levy this year in 2020, but we will be discussing the level of the levy in the new year. In order to be able to support these projects and get them going, which I think is very important that we start, keep everybody interested. The Arthur BIA is requesting a loan from the Township of Wellington North for $10,000, and this will be paid back from the future levies. So that's our letter. I think we have a level of enthusiasm that we can carry these projects out and people can see that we're doing something for the downtown area and bringing people in. And yeah, we would appreciate confidence from the council.
Okay. Thanks, Keith. Any questions from council for Keith at this point?
Just a quick one, Mayor. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
How has your business been, Keith? Has it been quite affected by the coronavirus, and are you able to be open soon?
Well, what we did is we're following the guidelines, and luckily that we have Joe Walsh of the IDA Pharmacy, very great guy and a very community-spirited person, who is allowing us to use his back parking lot as a training ground for our kids. And it's so important to have the kids out there and running around and giving them a sense of continuity. So that's what we're doing. The problem with the Maple Water project was that we were in Japan in February at a trade show, and that's when the masks first started coming out in Tokyo. Our second trip to Japan in March was canceled, yet we had already spent all the funds. So I would say that we're going to survive this, but it's pretty, we're on beans and potatoes, if you will. Anyhow, the karate dojo is doing very well.
No, I saw a bunch of kids out in the parking lot behind the IDA and was wondering what was going on there.
Yeah, no protests. We're all just trying to get out and stay healthy.
Great, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Keith? Dan? Dan, go ahead.
Keith, first of all, congratulations on getting this, your BIA up and running. I think it's an important, it's important to have this in Arthur, similar as to what it is in Mount Forest. And it's important that council buy into supporting the BIA and making the improvements in the town area of Arthur. So just once again, congratulations, and I wish you the best of luck. And I'm completely supportive of supporting you with the funds to get started.
Thank you very much.
Karen, did you have something you wanted to add?
I just wanted to add, before you get a mover and seconder, I'm sorry I didn't catch this before now. Can we amend the recommendation to say request for a $10,000 loan for projects in downtown Arthur? There's no amount in the recommendation. It's just easier to go back and find the resolution than it is to search the report.
Okay, I'll just insert that, I think, as we go. Any other questions, comments at this point? Lisa?
Of course, I'm a part of the BIA now, but I just wanted to thank Keith for taking part in this meeting this evening. I know that you guys, and I don't understand, do you have your other camera on, Keith? Because I can't see your face.
Oh my goodness. That's probably a plus, actually. I can't tell. I'm a Luddite. Let's see. Zoom, camera. Let's mute. Wait for it. There you go.
There. See, I've been talking about Keith now for a couple of months and how great chair he is, and I wanted him to get out and have council actually see who Keith is. In a perfect world, we would have a council meeting and we could all get out and meet Keith. Unfortunately, that's not a reality now or even for the near future. So the better we can work within our parameters, the more successful the BIA will be. So I thought that it was good for Keith to get out, and council needs a good relationship with the BIA. And I'm very proud of the enthusiastic group that we have. It's wonderful. We have a meeting this week, right, Keith? I've forgotten
Wednesday.
the day. Wednesday night?
Well, in the evening, yeah, 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm looking for the first barbecue.
We have a long list of stuff to talk about, and Keith is a fantastic chair.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Any other questions or comments? I too would like to add my congratulations, Keith, for the BIA getting off to such a roaring start, making this commitment right out of the gate. So congratulations to you and the rest of the team there. And with that,
it's a good group of people, and they're all solid business people.
Okay, with that, we have a recommendation here that moved by Dan, seconded by Lisa, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North support the Arthur Business Improvement Association request for a $10,000 loan for projects in downtown Arthur, and further that staff be directed to work with the Arthur Business Improvement Association on an agreement and bring a report to the July 27th, 2020 council meeting. Any final discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Keith.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council and Karen. Appreciate that.
On to the next step. So our next
Okay, I'm out of here then.
Yeah, thanks,
Yep.
Keith.
Bye for now.
So our next item is adoption of the minutes from our regular council meeting of June 22nd and our special council meeting of June 29th. So I'm going to suggest that's moved by Steve, seconded by Sherry, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on June 22nd, 2020, and the special meeting of council held on June 29th, 2020 be adopted as circulated. Any questions or comments on those minutes? All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That brings us to items for consideration. We got quite a list today, so let us know what you want to pull out to discuss.
Sorry.
I'd like 1F.
Okay. Any others, Steve?
Yeah, I was going to do the 4A as well.
Okay.
6A.
6A.
Yes, and then 7A.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else have others? Sherry, go ahead.
I'd just like to add to that list 6B, no, wait a minute, 4B, sorry.
4B, that's the Community Improvement Program one?
Yes, please.
Okay. And others?
No, I think I'm good with the rest of the ones that are left.
Okay. Any others? Lisa, go ahead.
1A.
Okay.
And I think I'd like to pull 9C as well.
Nine C. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm going to add 5C. I don't think we've pulled that one already. And 9B. Okay, so I'll just do a recap, and if there's anything we've missed, we'll get it. So we have 1A, 1F, 4A, 4B, 5C, 6A, 7A, 9B, and 9C. Any others anybody wants to pull out tonight?
No.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest then that moved by Lisa, seconded by Dan. Let me get there to the that all items listed under items for consideration on the July 13th, 2020 council agenda, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be approved and the recommendations therein be adopted. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to 1A, the Arthur Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to suggest that that's moved by Sherry, seconded by Steve, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the Arthur Chamber of Commerce meeting held on June 16th, 2020. And open that for discussion. Lisa?
Yeah, I asked to have this pulled, not for any major reason, except for a clarification. I don't usually pick apart minutes because it's a really difficult job for the chamber person to write minutes. But I did not say that $150 million will be dedicated to better broadband and cell service for rural Wellington North. I wish that was the case, but I wouldn't say that. So I might clarify that with the chamber at their meeting next week. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
I was going to congratulate you on that, Lisa. Any
I
other
wish.
So from a procedural matter, we can't change their minutes, but we will note in our minutes that you're going to clarify that with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their meeting is next week, so we'll get that clarified in their minutes and they will pass a new set, I'm sure.
Okay, any other questions or comments on that? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That brings us to 1F, the Recreation Parks and Leisure Committee meeting. I'm going to suggest that that's moved by Dan, seconded by Lisa. That the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the Recreation Parks and Leisure Committee meeting. Okay, so there's a number of recommendations here.
That's your first
There's-
one, so you'll need to vote on it.
Yeah, so we're going to deal with all three. So so I'm not sure whether anybody wants to discuss the minutes specifically, but we'll open up discussion for that. And then there's the two other recommendations that we need to deal with separately. So any discussion on those minutes? Steve?
Going to mention just with the ad hoc committee update a bit, if I could touch on that, or do you want me to wait?
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to actually lean a bit on, excuse me, on Councillor Burke in all the good works that she has done with the Mount Forest splash pad. And maybe Sherry, could I get you to give a little quick synopsis of where you guys are?
Okay, so since I last updated, and this is going to be news for my committee as well, we've reached our goal of 15 bricks to have the engraving company come back. So as everyone knows, we sold some bricks over the Christmas season and actively fundraised even after the splash pad opened last year. So we have hit our target for 15 to have that company come back. We're in the works of trying to get a meeting together. I've contacted a couple of members, but not everyone. So Mandy has offered to help host a meeting so that we can come back together, discuss our accomplishments, where we're at, because we also have a company or business in town that would like to have an armor stone, and we're not sure whether the lady that does the engraving can help us out with that. We're confident that she can by looking at her website. So we also have another donation, a large donation that's been pledged some time ago. We're confident that that's going to come through shortly. So the fundraising gap at the beginning of January was just over 67,000. We're confident that we will have those funds covered once those donations come in.
I think it was 6,700, wasn't it? Not 67,000?
Yeah, 6,700, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
thank you.
a lot more bricks.
It's been a long day.
Woo. Okay. Thanks. Thank you for that, Councillor Burke. Sorry to kind of put you on the spot, but I knew you'd do a good job with that. I also, if I can continue a bit, Andy.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Thanks. I wanted to acknowledge Kate Rowley sent in a nice letter of acknowledgement to support and recognize Mandy with all the help that she has done with the Lions blacksmith shop, and then also a bit of a shout out to our township staff that's doing the lawn maintenance there as well. So hats off to those employees or the staff as well. And yeah, it was a great meeting. We got a lot accomplished, and I think we're going to be able to help out the Mount Forest Arena and some of the community groups up there with the creative fundraising of selling seats in the arena. So if you want to buy a seat, you'll have to talk to some of the community groups. So
Okay. So I had a couple of questions about that, Steve. So I noticed the original recommendation was modified to take out the $500 price. Can you elaborate a little bit on what the committee's discussion was around that?
we didn't want to, I guess, limit their ability to raise funds. So we'll sell the seats to them for as the $200. and they can sell it for whatever price they can get from you or from a company, or anyone who wants to buy a seat. It doesn't have to be limited right to the $500.
Okay. But we're not going to get these groups competing with each other over this, are we?
Hope not. The seats are going to be allotted out as a kind of a. There's a lot of seats to let, I guess, for sale. And
Okay.
I keep looking at your picture up in the corner, so that's why I'm not looking at you in the eye, I guess. But we're going to sell them kind of as a first come, first serve. But then I don't think there's going to be a mad rush to sell out all at once. So I think there's going to be, fair and open ability for all the community groups to buy the seats that they want and sell them.
Okay. And I just had one other question on a different issue, and that was the one with regard to the landscaping around the splash pad. I'm just a little confused as to what the outcome there was.
I'm going to
Sherry, do you want to tackle that one?
I'll speak to that. So it was on my request because through the landscaping plan, we know from the Lions Club that was supposed to happen this year in 2020, but in 2021, they want to have a dedication of the splash pad, as they have with other similar parks like Bill Moody Park. So that's a large sign that needs to be incorporated into the landscape design. And also part of our Let's Build It campaign, we had promised some of the donors, if you donated X number of dollars, there would be a sponsorship sign. So we also want to make sure that that's incorporated into that. And we've had a request from a family to plant a tree in memory of someone, similar again to the tree that's planted in memory of Timothy. So we asked the recreation group to just receive that as for information, and then when the ad hoc committee gets together, we could discuss sort of location and things like that with regards to the sign, because I think the Lions Club would definitely like to have some input with regards to their dedication sign.
So that means we're going to just hold off on completing the landscaping then? Is that the intent?
The hope is that we can get together here fairly quickly. I want to say like within the next couple of weeks, hopefully, if schedules allow for everyone, that the ad hoc committee could get together and discuss these issues.
Okay, thank you. I just was a little confused by it. Okay, any other questions or comments on those minutes? Okay, we'll call the motion then. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We have a second recommendation out of those minutes. Moved by Steve, seconded by Sherry, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North direct staff to enter an agreement with local minor sports organizations to promote and sell seat naming rights at the Mount Forest and District Sports Complex as fundraising, as recommended by the Recreation, Parks and Leisure Committee. And further, the council establish a cost per seat of $200 as recommended by the Recreation, Parks and Leisure Committee. And further, the council directs staff to provide the seats on a per row basis, and that cost payment is made in advance as recommended by the Recreation, Parks and Leisure Committee. And further, the council directs staff to ensure the marketing of the program and the original placement of the name tag be performed by the community group, but any necessary replacement or maintenance on the name tag for a period of 5 years following the original placement of the name tag be performed by the township, after which the name tag may be removed at the discretion of the township as recommended by the Recreation, Parks and Leisure Committee. So after that mouthful, has anybody got any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And got another recommendation here. Moved by Lisa, seconded by Dan, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North approve the purchase of a new kitchen heater for the Damascus Community Center with the funds that were allocated for a new furnace, as recommended by the Recreation, Parks, and Leisure Committee. Questions or comments on that? Steve?
Just a quick one. I want to do a nice shout out to Chalmers Fuel. They actually donated the excuse me, the furnace in the Damascus Hall, as well as in the Lions Blacksmith shop as well. It's great community businesses like this that Keith had mentioned earlier that we're so lucky and fortunate to have in our community, and that they can help out at the Damascus Hall and the blacksmith shop. So we are sending letters out to Chalmers, recognizing that the fact that they did the donation, and just a letter of appreciation as well.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to 4A. This is in regard to the Wellington North Shop local program. And I'm going to suggest that's moved by Sherry, seconded by Steve. And the recommendation is that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report EDO 2020-14, being report on the Wellington North Shop local program. And further, the council supports promoting downtown shopping and ensuring physical distancing in a safe and comfortable environment by authorizing the closure of George Street in Arthur and Main Street in Mount Forest as follows. Main Street, Mount Forest, August 8th and 22nd. George Street in Arthur, August 15th and 29th. Open the floor for questions or comments. Steve, go ahead.
I just have a quick one, excuse me, for you, Dale. There. This is a great idea. I love it. I love how we're going to have a shop local, and I think it's going to be fantastic. The rerouting of traffic, are they going to be able to still park downtown if we wanted like traffic to actually stop and shop? What was your kind of plans for that?
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Lennox, I think what we'll probably do, so there won't be any parking on Main Street, Councillor McKay, but we will try to get signage up the best we can to promote the parking lots that are just off the main street for people who may be coming through and want to park and see what's going on, but not on the main street itself.
Okay, and then just another quick question. In Arthur, where will it start and stop if I was coming from Fergus, excuse me, into...
So if you're coming from Fergus north, it'll get routed off there at Eliza Street where it bends up. And then traffic can go either way because we will not be blocking off Frederick Street. So at the north end of Arthur, it'll be closed right at the corner of Frederick and George, but Frederick Street itself will be open for traffic.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Great idea, great initiative.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's hopefully council are in support of it. It's another one of those where in partnership with the BIA and the chamber, we all think this is a good thing for us to do, and hopefully the community will come out and support it as well. With moving into stage 3 too, that takes away some of the, there had been some concerns around, numbers of people and stuff like that, but this will be all outdoors and should provide for a good, safe environment.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment as well. This is a fantastic idea. I was so excited when I saw this come out. Of course, Dale, I was on all of the emails with the Chambers of Commerce and the BIA, et cetera. And to say that they're in total support of this is probably understating it. They were all very excited and offering to help. So they're really looking forward to this. I think it'll be a great day. They're planning lots of street sales and stuff like that. And should be food vendors as well. I know the Lions in Arthur spoke with me yesterday, and they would like to sell some hot dogs and stuff as long as they can meet the health requirements, to help raise funds for the BMX park. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I just have one quick one, and that is in Mount Forest, along the same lines as Steve's question, they're rerouting with Fergus Street under construction. That's not going to be part of the detour route, I assume.
Well, unless Mr. Aston and his team have the construction work all done, probably not. We'll probably route them the other way, Mary Lennox, over to I guess it's Elgin Street and around that way. And that way is actually easier as well in terms of getting them to the parking lots there and behind the drugstore and Foodland and that. In Mount Forest, we'll be routing it off at 89 and 6, and then at the north end, Birmingham Street. So traffic will get around that way.
Okay.
We're also, sorry, Mary Lennox, just one more thing. On the Mount Forest location, we're also planning to relocate the farmers market to Main Street for those two events as well. So we'll be handing flyers out at the farmers market for the 2 weeks leading up to the event, just so that our farmers market customers know where the market's going those couple of days. But we thought it would also help, get them out on the main street. They can stay open all day if they want, and it will just add to the festivities on Main Street.
Yes, for sure. Okay, Sherry, did you have?
So just going back to having the Main Street closed, and in my past experience in having the Main Street closed for the fireworks festival, will notifications be sent out to those businesses that may have deliveries come in on that Saturday, just to let them know that traffic will be rerouted? I know that's often been a concern.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Councillor Burke. So we'll make sure we do that as part of our communication plan. What we're actually intending to do is to reach out to all businesses, not only Main Street businesses, but all businesses, to let them know about the event. And so as part of that, we'll mention the delivery part of it, but also if someone wanted to open up a location on Main Street that day, we would be open for that as well. But that's a good point that we'll have to make sure we cover off, is deliveries for some of our businesses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? And I would just add that I look forward to these events to try to support those downtown businesses. Certainly this past period has been very difficult for them. And, anything we can do to support shopping local, reminding people the importance of shopping local is important and valuable, and will help those businesses recover, hopefully. Okay, if there's nothing further, then I'll call the motion. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. That moves us on to 4B. This is the Community Improvement Program one. So moved by Dan, seconded by Lisa. And the recommendation here is, I thought I had a mouthful before, this one looks more, so. That the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report EDO 2020-015, being a report on the Community Improvement Program, and further that Council approved grants as follows. $500 facade improvement grant for new signage at 101 Main Street North in Mount Forest, new home to B&A Gardens. $2,500 facade improvement grant for improvements at 212 Main Street North in Mount Forest, home of the Cooperators. $2,500 facade improvement grant and a $2,500 facade improvement loan for improvements at 9103 Highway 6 in Kenilworth for improvements made by the new owner, Mark McRae. $2,500 facade improvement grant for improvements at 274 Main Street South in Mount Forest, home to Dufferin Mutual Insurance and a vacant unit. $246 facade improvement grant and $630 blade siding grant for improvements at 257 Main Street South in Mount Forest, new home to the Imagination Space. $2,500 facade improvement grant for improvements at 9128 Highway 6 in Kenilworth, home to Epoch's Garage. And further, the council, in order to continue to support local businesses during the COVID epidemic and to help stimulate the economic recovery, approve an additional allocation of $25,000 to the Community Improvement Program in 2020. Open the floor for discussion on that one. Sherry, go ahead.
So I was the one that asked to have this pulled. Again, I think this is a great program. Always happy to see that businesses are still interested in this program. It's had some longevity. Again, support it, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to have it pulled, just to keep that fresh with everybody that's watching. My question is, for the request of the $25,000, Dale, is this a request because we know that more projects are coming in, and this will be eaten up fairly quickly, or is this just to, as it says, sort of continue on the project for the rest of the year?
So through you, Mayor Lennox, I'm not sure that this 25,000, Councillor Burke, will actually be enough. But I think it will hopefully get us through to the end of the year. I have about 6 more businesses that I'm working with applications on. If council approved this report tonight, basically all of our 2020 funding will have been spent. And so I think another 25,000, one, it's a great sign to our businesses that council support the community improvement program, and we're doing what we can to try to support businesses through the pandemic. And by allocating additional funding, that will get us through at least another 3 or 4 months, and then we can perhaps reassess it then if there's additional funding that's required. You know, I'd like to just give a shout out to council. This program's been in place for about 8 years, and council have been tremendously supportive of the program. And I know local business and myself, thank you for that. And so I think this additional funding will hopefully get us to the end of the year.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, I was around, Dale, when we started this, and I remember the discussion was that this is going to start slowly, but it'll build over time, and that has proven to be very true.
That has been very true.
It has built fairly dramatically over the last couple of years. So yeah, like the infection of viruses, it's catching on.
This is a good virus, though, Mayor Lennox.
That's right, and I just also wanted to, you know, comment on the fact that, you know, while our businesses are struggling to deal with the pandemic and its results, the willingness to invest in this is not only help them recover today, but it will also help them build for the future as well. I mean, these are improvements that will enhance our downtown and our business areas for a number of years to come. So I think I'm very encouraged by the amount of uptake we're getting at this point, especially under, you know, fairly difficult circumstances for many businesses. Any final comments or questions? Okay, I'll call the motion. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to 5B. Oh, sorry. Scribbled on the wrong page. 5C. And that's going to be moved by Steve, seconded by Sherry. And so the report TR 2020, so recommendation, sorry, is that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report TR 2020-010 being an update report on the ICIP Green Stream and the proposed 2020 Connecting Link application for information. And further, the council support the submission of the Queen Street East between Main Street and White's Bridge project for the 2021-22 Connecting Link intake once available. And further, the council directs staff that the requisite funding for the township's share of the 2021-22 Connecting Link program be included as appropriate in the 2021 budget. I'll open the floor for questions or comments. Dan, go ahead.
Well, I certainly don't think we can go wrong by making the application because, yeah, it's certainly in severe need of some work. And I think, and hopefully we're successful, but if we're not successful, I think we really need to look at that project from a different angle. And I hate to have to, go ahead without provincial participation, but it may be something that we'll have to look at. But hopefully we're successful, and with Mike and Adam, trying to get the government on board, and hopefully we're successful. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, I just wanted to add a couple of things. One is, of course, we're disappointed that we weren't successful with the ICIP funding because it had funded a few other things as well that would have been beneficial. But I am very encouraged about the prospects of Connecting Link. I don't know whether everybody was aware or not, but the province, after we got our announcement the last time, since then, the province has announced an increase in funding for Connecting Links. And so that bodes well at least I'm hoping it bodes well for our next application, that the funding pot will be bigger. So we should stand a chance of getting the funding for this much needed project. I get more correspondence on this section of the street than all the others combined, I think. So I know there's lots of residents who are very anxious to see this section of road improved, as am I. So yeah, I fully support the recommendation. Dan, go ahead.
Andy, it's not necessarily just the local residents that are concerned about this. It's just there's a lot of traffic, outside traffic, that use that stretch of highway coming and going from Mount Forest. And it really, we all know the condition it's in, and I'm sure people driving that stretch of road that don't live here may never come back here because of that stretch of road. Who knows? But hopefully we're successful. But it's not just the local people. We're all concerned about it, and the people that live here are concerned. But people that travel through our community, I'm sure once they get out onto a smoother stretch of highway, say, boy, that needs some repair work. So it's other people as well.
For sure, Dan. Certainly the other section of Queen Street makes quite a contrast. And I don't like looking at things this way, but I've been on Connecting Link in other municipalities, and other municipalities are in dire need as well on this. So let's hope the increased funding that the province has put forward is going to be enough that we can tap into that.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments before I call the vote? Okay. All those in favor then? That's carried. Thank you. We're on to 6A now. And I'm going to say that's moved by Lisa, seconded by Dan. The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North received report DFC 2020-002 being reported on the Wellington North and Southgate Fire Protection Agreement. And further, that the Council of the Township of Wellington North authorized the Mayor and Clerk to enter into a fire services agreement with the Township of Southgate for the provision of fire protection services. Open the floor for discussion on that one. Go ahead, Steve.
Andy, I just have a quick question for Marco. The last paragraph just before the financial considerations. The very last line said Arthur will still be utilized when requiring more than the initial 2 stations. Maybe I think I might have just answered my own question. Sorry, I was going to say why is Arthur being not non-forest, but I have reread that as well. So good, sorry, Marco, but I understand why Arthur. Good, thank you.
So just on that point, though, to clarify, the previous agreement, when we were responding to one of the addresses that we were assigned in Southgate before, Arthur would have been the second responding station. Is that correct, Marco?
Yes,
Previously?
that's correct.
So we're taking pressure off of the Arthur station because Dundalk will be responding now instead.
Correct. This way here, because they will be taking over anything of a major event. Southgate would be responsible, and they would take it over. And at that time, they would be in charge. They would relieve us if need be, and they would take over.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I just have one follow-up question to that as well, and that's just about interoperability. I mean, these are rural addresses without, fire hydrants.
Correct.
Are we interoperable with them in terms of supplying water to a fire scene?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so we're good with Southgate, and that would just be a 2-station response. A third would be Arthur, a fourth would be Durham. We would have tons of, we can get lots of water there fairly quickly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I just was concerned there was no issues with compatibility regarding that.
Nope, we have a great working relationship with Southgate. That's why Derek was comfortable approaching us with the change. And we had no issues. We came to an agreement fairly quickly. So it was, yeah, they're a great partner.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, call the motion then. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Marco.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. We'll move on to 7A. And I'm going to say this is moved by Sherry, seconded by Steve. The recommendation is that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the report from SEMA regarding the Arthur Wastewater Treatment Plant Expansion Project Contract 1 Quarterly Report Q2 2020. And we'll open the floor for discussion. Steve, please go ahead.
Thanks, Andy. Whenever I see these reports, I think they're great. I love the pictures of the kind of before and afterwards of all of the excitement and I guess works that are going on down at the wastewater treatment plant. And I always have to ask one more question: are we still on track? Are we on time?
Okay.
So, Matt, if you want to answer that, or Mike.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Lennox. We had a construction meeting last week, and yeah, everything's still on that November 2020 deadline. So there is lots of work going on. There's still lots of work that needs to happen, but everything's on schedule for November of 2020.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that one? I just have one quick question. Is it SEMA that looks after all those picture taking, Matt?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. They send weekly reports, but then we get them to consolidate a report for a quarterly report. So yes.
Okay.
And it does. It's a good representation of lots of work that's going on.
Yeah, we think about the dollars involved with that project, and sometimes you wonder why it costs so much, but then when you see the intricacies of the construction, it starts to become a little clearer. Any other questions or comments on that one? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, that brings us to 9B. And recommendation here is moved by Dan, seconded by Lisa. That the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the report from Bruce Whale, GRCA board member on the Grand River Conservation Authority to June 26, 2020. Open the floor for any discussion on that. I guess I'm the one who requested it, so I'll get things rolling. I just wanted to pull this one out. I'm very pleased that we have gotten a report from Bruce Whale. I mean, he's been representing us now for a couple of years, and with certainly recently with the health restrictions and so on, it's been hard to find out what's been happening a little bit. So I appreciate his report and would encourage him to keep updating us by whatever means he can. So with that said, Mike, did you want to add something to that?
I just wanted to indicate to council, Bruce reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked about, what could he do to try and continue to get information to council. So it was based on a conversation between he and I that we talked about a written report as opposed to maybe trying to come in to a Zoom platform. He seemed more comfortable with this, so I didn't push him on the Zoom piece, but I was glad that he was able to provide an update for all of the council.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I guess, just a quick one.
Go ahead, Steve.
Mike, thank you. I just kind of thought of it. Flooding's revenue is down. Do you think the cost of levy will go up next year, or how do you think? What's your projection if you had a crystal ball?
Yeah, I haven't given it a lot of thought, to be honest, Councillor McCabe. I tend to focus on our own financial, as you can imagine. I do think GRCA, they are a vast organization. And so, revenues and expenses tend to go up and down pretty quickly. But I know that they've also been extremely challenged in that they do rely on a lot of revenue from campgrounds, things of that nature that some other conservation authorities don't rely on. So I anticipate that they will be challenged this year for sure from an overall revenue standpoint. I don't know what that will necessarily look like from a levy standpoint next year, but I do think they will struggle a little bit with the revenue side of things.
Thanks. I was just curious.
Yeah, I think you bring up an excellent point, Steve, in that, that's an unknown for us, for our municipal finance as well. And, I personally think that we're probably going to try to have to hold the line on taxation as much as we possibly can to help our residents and businesses who are struggling. And that could be some of the pressure that we're faced with too, is if those additional costs come to us. So yeah, I don't think the next budget session is going to be as easy as the last ones have been, for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll call the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. That brings us to 9C. And I want to suggest this is moved by Steve, seconded by Sherry. The recommendation is that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the Center Wellington Community Foundation media release July 1st, 2020, $10,880 COVID-19 technology grant to the Township of Wellington North in partnership with the Mount Forest Family Health Team to facilitate the Mennonite and Amish community's access to virtual medical services. Open the floor for discussion on that one. Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a comment. I mean, obviously this is fantastic news, especially for our Mennonite community and our Amish community. You hear a lot in the news about how COVID-19 is affecting different demographics, and our Mennonite population is overlooked when people discuss that. So I'm very excited to see this and that we are not overlooking our Mennonite population.
Did you have your hand up, Karen? Okay, Mike?
Yes, wanted to comment on the actual grant itself. This is a great example of a partnership and the kind that I'm certainly happy to be part of. Really, the Mount Forest Family Health Team reached out to us to act as kind of the middleman between the middle person, I should say, between the community foundation and them, as they have the plan in place as it relates to the technology and how they want to try and implement it with some of the Amish community, as well as some other others that maybe don't have access to technology that some of the rest of us do. So they really reached out to us to kind of help facilitate the application. They needed a group like the township to help them with that, and we were very grateful for that opportunity, and nice to have some success around another funding application that really is the family health team, but we can we'll take some of the props as well.
Thanks, Mike. So do we have any responsibility in terms of delivering this, or are we just the partner to facilitate?
We're the partner to facilitate. They will be delivering. I think there are some reporting requirements that as the partner will have to address once the funding's passed through, but otherwise they're really doing the implementation.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments on this one? Yeah, it just certainly appears that we've had a number of announcements over the past little while with this partner, and we've gotten a little more active in the last year, and it looks like it's been a good move. So it's nice to see those partnerships deliver results. Any further questions, comments? I'll call the motion then. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. I think that's the end of our items for discussion. So any notice of motion this evening?
I have none.
Dan? Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Just in regards to the issues and challenges that we've all been facing recently, or council and staff have been facing recently in regards to the yard waste issue. I'd like to propose a notice of motion that that our council request from the county that they waive tipping fees at the Riverston Waste Facility for leaf and yard waste dropped off there from county residents. I think the program is it's been very confusing. It's been tough for people to buy into. I think there's a couple of things that may happen. I hope that it would help alleviate illegal dumping. I help keep our streets clean after pickups have been done. I think it will maybe reduce organics going into the landfill site, and I hope that it will help some of our residents transition into the new county waste program. So basically, I'd like to ask, the County of Wellington, and maybe we could, I'm not sure how that would be facilitated, but to ask them to waive tipping fees in regards to local yard waste. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Okay, so that's something we can discuss at our next meeting. You can send the basic text of that over to Karen so she can include it in our next agenda. Dan?
Sure, yeah. Is that all you need, Karen? Just the basic text of that idea?
Yeah, I would ask, is there some sort of time frame, like from now till the end of the year, from now till September?
Well, I think
you can think about that. Yep.
Yeah, let me think about that. And if anybody else has some ideas on maybe a time frame, then maybe we could take, maybe they could let me know. But I'll send you the information that I have, Karen, and maybe we can discuss it in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
other
Thank
notice of motion? Any other notice of motion this evening? Okay, before we move on to community group meeting program report, I just wanted to, I don't know when the best time to do this is, but I think we'll do it now. I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on, you know, a member of our team that we lost recently, Gord Plewelling. And he, you know, has been a livestock evaluator for us for a number of years, helped us with the large animal impound program that we had to implement a few years ago. And Gord has been a tireless servant to his community and to many community groups. So just if we could just take a minute and of silence and reflect on Gord, our friend and team member, lost too soon. So. Great, thanks everyone. So we'll move on now to our community group meeting program report. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share with us this evening in that regard? Go ahead, Steve.
Just that we had a really fantastic, excuse me, rec council, rec committee meeting last week, and you saw the fruits of the labor that the Lions in Mount Forest are doing, and the community businesses that really support our community, like the Chalmers, and helping out with the Damascus Hall, and then the blacksmith shop is what makes this community so good and so amazing, and that's why people want to move here. And to echo what Keith had said, we've got great BIAs, and we have in both towns now, and great community leaders as well, and creative as well. So, and of course, we always do great things with Southgate as well, with regards to with the rec committee as well. So it was a good meeting. Lots of good discussion.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Any other community group meeting report? Dan, go ahead.
Just briefly, from the hospital building committee, anybody that's by the hospital, they're making some tremendous progress there, and I think things are moving along nicely. It's a big project, and they are doing some good work, and I think they're pretty much holding to their schedule. So if you haven't been by it, you know, take the opportunity to go by and see what's going on over there, because it's going to be a tremendous facility when it's completed.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Lisa?
With regards to the, I guess, the BMX skate park, the Arthur Lions did host an informal, I wasn't a part of, with under 10 people, and like not a BMX meeting, just a Lions meeting. And they are planning to have 2 chicken dinners, one in August and one in September. They've consulted with another group down in Erin that had something similar and was able to conform with all the health health protocols. So as long as they can source their food, the chicken and their tarts, there will be 2 drive-through chicken barbecues coming up and maybe more. So they're actually, now that they're on to it and think that they can do it, they're looking forward to it. So that's good news. And in addition, the Arthur BIA, of course, we have a meeting on Wednesday, and we already had Keith here. There is quite a list of very creative enhancements with regard to the notice of motion and working with our community groups around the Connecting Link project. So we're hoping to get approval on that list at our Wednesday meeting, and then probably with the Chamber of Commerce as well, and go forward from that.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa. If you're talking, Lisa, we can't hear you.
Just internet connection's bad, that's all.
Okay. Did you have anything further?
No.
Okay. Any other community group program reports from anybody? I don't think I have any tonight either. So I guess that brings us to bylaws. There's 2 bylaws to deal with tonight: the fire protection agreement with Southgate and the actual cost of some drainage works. So we have a recommendation here, moved by Lisa, seconded by Dan, that bylaw number 56-20 and 57-20 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted. Any discussion on those bylaws? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to our confirming bylaw. And moved by Sherry, seconded by Steve. The bylaw number 58-20 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of Corporation of the Township of Wellington North at its regular meeting held on July 13th, 2020. We read a first, second, and third time and enacted. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to our adjournment. So, sorry about the background noise. Moved by Dan, seconded by Lisa, that the regular council meeting of July 13th, 2020 be adjourned at 8:05 p.m. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy the bonfire.
They're supposed to be outside. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.